Good morning, Wargamers. Today I just want to do a quick video talking about the ITC format and how it impacts Tau. Specifically, I want to talk about the ITC FAQ since a seemingly increasing proportion of tournaments use the ITC FAQ. So once the latest codex came out, ITC released a new FAQ for that, and it had some interesting decisions that really have some important consequences for Tau players going into ITC tournaments. So here are the first set of FAQ, and this is under the Tau section. It says models in the Piranha Firestorm or Firestream wing formation may not leave the table using the rearm and refuel special rule the same turn that they arrive from reserves or ongoing reserves. That's just saying that you can't basically drone farm every turn using the Piranha formation. And if you're unfamiliar with the Piranha formation, basically you can have units of Piranhas that are damaged or have lost drones or anything like that leave the tabletop, and then the next turn come back on as if they were brand new. And so one kind of exploitive thing that you can do with this is have drones detach, and then have the piranhas themselves leave and come back, and they have drones on them. But it says when returning to the table using the rearm and refuel special rule, piranha unit does so at full strength, including regaining piranhas that have been destroyed earlier in the game. However, models that have formed their own unit due to being immobilized are not replaced. So that just means too that if you have an immobilized piranha, it is not replaced. Honestly, it's not something that I thought about in first reading of the Piranha formation rules, but I do think it makes sense. I think that's a reasonable ruling there. The thing about them not coming and going in the same turn seems fair too. So I'm fine with that. All ghost kills in a unit activate their hollow photon countermeasures at the same time. This is the one that a lot of people are a little miffed about, just because of the wording in the rule book, which I have here for you. It's on page 123. It says, once per battle in the enemy shooting phase, a model equipped with the hollow photon countermeasures can disrupt the targeting systems used by one enemy unit that is targeting it or the unit it belongs to. Declare that the unit will use the hollow photon countermeasures after the enemy unit has chosen it as a target, but before any hit rolls are made. The enemy can only make snapshots in that shooting phase. So the important part there is that it says that a model can use it, and then that affects the whole unit. I can also see an interpretation of that rule saying that the entire unit is benefiting from it, and therefore any model that has hollow photon countermeasures has to use it. But I think that seems a little bit out of line with the first part of that rule, saying that it's a model activating it. And so a lot of people, including myself, think that Ghost Keel should be able to use that rule once per model per game, and that doesn't have to necessarily be all on one turn. But that can be a little hard. But then again, so is dealing with invisibility. So I don't think that Ghost Kills having this ability is broken. If a Storm Surge that has deployed its stabilizing anchors is tank shocked, it must death or glory in response. If it fails to stop the tank shocking vehicle, it suffers D3 wounds, and the tank is left in base-to-base contact with Storm Surge at the point it made contact with it. This one's a little bit of filling in the gaps, but that seems fair. I mean, the stabilizing anchors are meant to immobilize the unit, and so it's not supposed to be able to move, so I think this is a fair way of applying that. So that's the Tau specific FAQ, and like I said, I think the big thing there is the hollow photon countermeasures, and basically it makes you less prone to bring groups of 3 ghost kills, but I don't really know of many army lists that included groups of multiple ghost kills either, so probably not a huge deal for a lot of people, but still something to be aware of. Additionally, that's probably good to know if you are going to be playing against Tau. So if you are going against someone that is bringing multiple Go skills, you'd want to know that it's a one-time deal and you don't have to worry about it as much. You might want to get that out of the way right off the bat. So there's that. The other major FAQ is a general void shield FAQ, and it says that any shooting attack or rule that requires a hit on a unit that is protected by a void shield hits the shield instead. Example, witchfires, marker lights, etc. This will often nullify these attacks. And this one I think is a little bit more problematic and probably a little bit more widespread in its impact on gameplay, not only for the game as a whole, but also for Tau players. So basically, it's saying that if you fire a marker light at a unit that's protected by a void shield, the unit is not hit by the marker light, and instead it hits the void shield. But that makes it useless because you can't target a void shield. So not only are you removing the ability of a marker light to hit a unit and buff a ballistic skill, you're also making it impossible to be used. So, like, one of the big problems I have with the way void shield rules are often interpreted is that void shields themselves are not models. They have no physical presence on the board aside from the generator, but the generator is not the issue. The shield itself is. And you cannot target the shield itself. You can only target models. And so how would you use a marker light that's on a void shield? Well, you can't. So basically, if you bring a void shield against a Tau player, you're nullifying a large portion of their ability to do anything. And that would be one thing if it was like, the marker light hits the unit, but can only be used against void shield attacks or something like that. Although that really would be splitting hairs and be a greater extent of fabrication in terms of making up rules and trying to basically patch this up. But I don't understand how this works for marker lights. I think it would be very clear and very intuitive that you'd be able to fire a marker light through a void shield and still have it hit the unit. It's just that any physical attacks, any shooting attacks that were not marker lights, so let's say missiles or pulse rifles or whatever, those instead would hit the void shield. They'd be able to benefit from the ballistic skill increase because you can still see the unit inside the void shield, but there's no way that you can still use the marker light, but you can't actually capitalize on it because of the void shield is there. I think that makes sense. I don't think it makes sense that the marker light hits the void shield and does nothing. I mean, that seems dumb to me. I get witchfires. That makes sense. That's basically a shooting attack. Shooting attack is going to hit the void shield instead of the unit inside. That's fine. Marker lights, that does not make sense. So this is a rule that irks me in the wrong way. And, I'm sure that there's a justification for it. I'm just not completely clear on what that is. So if you think this is a great ruling, please let me know. As we've talked about in the past, I'm always open to other opinions and try to take all information into account when forming my own opinion. So please let me know what you guys think. But that's the main thing I want to talk about is this void shield rule, and I think it has an adverse effect on Tau armies disproportionately amongst other armies. So let me know what you guys think, and of course, happy wargaming.